Imagine an AI model trained on Amelia streams, seamlessly delivering her humor and mannerisms while streaming 24/7. Fans might not even notice the difference, at least not at first. Hi Snow Gang, it's WinterTimeCrime, and today we're in the Snow Queen's Athenaeum, where we dig into research and scholarly articles for some frosty insights. Now let's talk about AI. It's come a long way over the years, it's reaching incredible heights, especially in creative spaces. But with all that progress, some intriguing and unsettling questions have started to emerge. Let's start by laying out how we got here. Let's take a little trip through time. In 2014, Ian Goodfellow introduced generative adversarial networks, or GANs, making it possible to generate realistic images. Pretty cool, right? Then came Google's Deep Dream in 2015. Remember those trippy, dreamlike images? They gave us a first glimpse of AI's potential to create art that feels, well, human. And fast forward to 2019 and OpenAI launching GPT-2. This was a game changer for creative writing, giving us AI that could generate coherent stories and dialogue. And then things really started to take off with DALL-E, OpenAI's text-to-image model. It's only gotten more powerful since its debut. Now let's jump ahead to 2024. OpenAI introduced Sora, an AI capable of generating full 1080p videos. While it's not perfect, the fact that we're even talking about AI created videos is wild. So why does this timeline matter? Because every single one of these tools could be part of something bigger. Tools that in the wrong hands or even the right hands might completely redefine creative spaces like VTubing. Let's shift gears for a moment. Amelia Watson, a beloved member of Hololive English, announced in September 2024 that she was stepping away from regular streaming. While she clarified that this wasn't a full graduation, it still marked the end of her live streams, social media activities, and merchandise releases. Fans were understandably emotional about this, but Hololive hinted she might appear in future projects. But here's where it gets interesting. Amelia's break got me thinking, what if she didn't need to step back at all? What if instead of real Amelia Watson, an AI-powered version of her could keep streaming indefinitely? Now I know what you're thinking. That sounds kind of far-fetched, right? But is it? Here's where things start to get very real. In December 2024, YouTube had introduced a feature allowing creators to opt in for third-party companies to use their content for AI model training. By default, everyone's opted out, but the very existence of this feature raises some big questions. For example, could these AI models be used to compete with or mimic the work of real creators? Or what happens if someone uses this data to replicate a VTuber's voice, face, or personality without permission? YouTube says these models are only for things like improving recommendation algorithms or auto captioning, but the potential for more is definitely there. And here's the kicker. It's not just corporations that could use this. You could too. Think about it. Between YouTube archives and fan documentation, you already have a gold mine of information about VTubers. Everything from their catchphrases to their opinions on random topics is out there. Fans have even psychoanalyzed how VTubers act in specific situations. Add to that the NVIDIA supercomputer they announced recently at CIS, a $3,000 powerhouse that can process 200 billion AI parameters, and you're looking at a game changer. It's basically a Mac Mini but for AI, and no, I'm not exaggerating. But let's not get too technical here, right? The bottom line is this. AI today can mimic speech patterns, generate lifelike visuals, and even synthesize voices with tools like 11 Labs. Combine all that with motion tracking, and you've got the recipe for a VTuber clone. Imagine an AI model trained on Amelia's streams, perfectly replicating her humor and mannerisms while streaming 24/7. Fans might not even realize the difference. Well, at least not right away. Now, you might be thinking, why would anyone do this? Aren't creators' VODs enough to satisfy their audiences? And sure, that's a fair point, but let me ask you this. How would you feel if your favorite VTuber graduated? Disheartened? Sad? Human emotion has always been a driving force behind some of the world's greatest and most controversial innovations. The idea of bringing a VTuber back through AI doesn't seem far-fetched, especially when you consider how much people value connection. even if it's artificial. From a business perspective, graduated VTubers typically don't generate as much revenue as those who are actively streaming, engaging with current events, and playing trending games, and consistently producing fresh content. Keeping up with the fast pace of online culture is crucial for staying relevant and profitable. On top of that, companies could see AI VTubers as a way to cut costs. Unlike human creators, AI doesn't need breaks, salaries, or contracts. It could even serve as a testing ground for new engagement strategies or niche audiences without the risks involved in hiring new talent. This shift could completely redefine how VTuber agencies approach their business models. But here's the unsettling part. If fans can barely tell the difference, would companies even bother telling us? Let that sink in for a moment. If an AI-powered VTuber could stream endlessly without needing breaks or paychecks, what's stopping corporations from quietly replacing their talents? It might sound like a plot of a dystopian novel, but the reality is the technology is already here. Personally, while AI VTubers might sound like the future, they're still riddled with flaws. Emotional connection lacking, creativity questionable, costs sky high, and most importantly, the soul of VTubing nowhere to be found. But hey, maybe I'm just being sentimental, or maybe I'm onto something here. Oh, and before you rush to the comments to remind me that Amelia Watson redebuted as Doobie 3D, this is purely hypothetical. The point is, the possibility of major agency VTubers leaving has been on the rise in recent months, and companies may already be exploring alternatives. The concept of VTubers not graduating but instead remaining associated with their brand creates a reality where their identity can continue without the person behind it. So, could AI take over the VTubing industry in the near future? What do you think are the pros and cons? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop them in the comments. And if you enjoyed today's Frosty dive into research, don't forget to subscribe and join us back here in the Athenaeum for our next video. Stay frosty, stay curious, and remember, every snowflake is unique just like you. It's winter time, baby.